Hello game fans and welcome again to the Steam Chamber. I'm Lord Elemental and today is the first of a new weekly regular feature, which is a video log. Now this is just a small sort of informal, moderately short video hopefully, that will just basically be me talking about what I've been playing over the past week or month as it may be. What I've been looking at news-wise to do with Steam, as well as retrospectively looking at or talking about the videos that have gone up on the channel or website in the past week. Also talking about what's going to be coming up in the following week. And covering any sort of news from the website. If you've not been to our website yet, then please do go and check it out. It's thesteamchamber.com. Not hard to remember. Everything done video-wise and website-wise is done either by myself or by Emiholic. Now, I generally do all of the voiceovers at the moment. However, that might change in the near future if we manage to convince a few other people we know to join in at some point. And the video is captured and edited by a mix of myself and Emiholic. When it comes to things like greenlight highlights, if you watch that regularly, then all the editing for that is done by Emiholic himself. Whereas certain games quite often with reviews, then it will be me recording and editing unless I'm being really lazy, in which case it gets uploaded to an FTP and Emiholic edits it for me. But that's generally if I'm only being really lazy, which is quite often in all fairness. You have to excuse me while I drink my coffee. Now, in terms of being lazy, if you've been following the channel for a little while now, you might have noticed there's not been a lot of content of late. That is because we've sort of, I've sort of stalled in terms of stuff to, producing videos and stuff. It can be quite lengthy, and I do find editing extremely boring. And, well, not boring. I don't mind it. It's just that I find it quite frustrating at times when I can't do exactly what I want to do very quickly. I'm not the greatest when it comes to concentrating. I have got a terrible attention span, and if you've got a bad attention span, the worst thing you can do is try and do something on a computer, because the internet is always there, as I'm sure you all know. So if you've been onto the website, or if not, I posted as an update that's supposed to be a quick update and ended up being quite a lengthy update in terms of letting you guys know what we'd be doing and what changes would be coming. And in terms of changes, we are going to be changing, well, we've already started by changing the greenlight highlights. We'll be a little less in-depth now. I used to spend quite a bit of time speaking about the games, especially particularly interesting games, and going into a little bit of analysis. However, that's not really highlights. Highlights should be brief, so we've decided to keep them short and sweet and maybe spend about a minute on each game and a bit of time on the intro and a bit of time on the outro, which should mean, seeing as we're covering 6 games of video, it should be about 8 minutes of video hopefully, which is sort of back to what we were originally doing in the first place. If you look at the first couple of episodes, they're all about 7 to 8 minutes long, but they gradually got longer and longer and longer as I sort of got more comfortable in prattling on about certain things and certain features. However, we're going to be going back just to do a quick highlight, just telling you what the game is, what the genre is, what it's trying to do, and then leaving it up to you to decide if it's doing that properly. Because those are the two most important questions when it comes to reviewing a game, or reviewing anything essentially. What is it trying to do, and does it do that? So we'll answer the first one, and you can answer the second one, or choose to. However, to satisfy those of you that like something a bit more in depth, and also to satisfy my own need to analyse, we will also be doing a new greenlight video, and that will be probably something along the lines of greenlight spotlight rather than highlights, and that will be us looking at one game in particular in greater depth. Now, I haven't decided yet if that's going to be a case of myself playing the game, reviewing the game and uploading it, or if it's going to be myself and Emiholic both playing the game and doing a joint analysis, and trying to convince Emiholic to actually get his voice on to the YouTube channel for a change. I think he's more likely to go along with it if we're doing it together. So otherwise, I think if he's doing it by himself, he's going to be a little bit lost in front of the microphone. So he might need a bit of encouragement. That way, we can really sort of focus on one game at a time, sort of show you what it's trying to do, and it's not necessarily fair to ask if it's doing it properly yet, because a lot of those games are alphas and betas or just not quite fully finished yet, so, and sometimes they're just demos, so it just all depends on what we can get our hands on and what builds the devs send us. But we will try and get you as much information on any games that we decide to look at in depth as soon as possible. I've got a couple of ideas of games that I'd like to cover, such as there's Door Kickers, which has already got quite a bit of attention anyway, which is quite an interesting little tactical real-time strategy game in which you command a squad of SWAT team special forces type people, and you have to clear rooms. It's sort of like semi-strategy game, semi-puzzle game. It's quite an interesting little game. However, it's had quite a bit of coverage already, so I'm not sure about that yet. Another game that is one that we featured in this week's Greenlight Highlights, and that's of Guards and Men, which was a really interesting little heist game, much in the same sort of style as Metro. Much in the same sort of style as Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine, which we reviewed a while back, only instead of just playing the thieves in Of Guards and Men, which is a multiplayer up to 16 players, I might add, half of you play the thieves and half of you play the guards, which is quite an interesting twist. You know, you're normally always playing the thieves. You very rarely get the chance to play the guards in a game like that. And what's quite interesting is it's an asymmetrical game. Asymmetrical multiplayer is always far more interesting for me, such as NS2, Natural Selection 2, and in Of Guards and Men, the guards you can expect to be quite overpowered, whereas you can expect the thieves to probably be more stealthy and perhaps a little bit quicker. So I wouldn't mind covering, I definitely want to cover that at some point, and seeing as it's multiplayer, that's something I could definitely look at doing with Emiholic. However, because it's multiplayer and it's still, I think it's 50% of the way through beta, it all depends on how well it works. So I'll look into that over the next couple of days. I'll give that a go, and if it's looking stable enough, then that could very well be the first of the Greenlight Spotlight videos this week. There are a couple of other games as well, like Dusty's Revenge, that we've got builds of, and I think we've got a few more early builds. However, it's just sort of going through things and deciding what's worth paying attention to yet, because there are certain games that are just not worth going into too in depth at the moment. One of those is Kinetic Void. Now that's an early access game that we have a build of, and we are going to cover that at some point. However, it's just too early on in the build to show off too much, because there's really not much to show off yet. So while that's not a major problem for something on early access, on Greenlight that can really damage the prospects of getting votes, because people are going to look at it and think, oh, that's not a game, I don't want that, and not think about, you know, what that actually means. You know, the fact that it's not finished, that's not the finished game. So we'll see. Now, moving away from Greenlight, I thought I'd just sort of talk about what I've been playing over the past couple of weeks. So there's a few things. I gave Folktale a try from early access, because I am looking at possibly doing an early access series as well, as they're starting to get a few games on there, and I do have quite a few of the early access games. I have Prison Break, I have Kinetic Void, I have Folktale, and I do have another, I do believe, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is now. So I was thinking about just doing individual little impressions videos for them. However, seeing as I've got a few and there are over 20 on the early access program now, I'm thinking that it could warrant actually having a weekly or a bi-weekly early access video. Again, it all depends on how many features are integrated into the game. I mean, there'll be very short impressions for certain games like Kinetic Void, because there's just not a lot going on in there at the minute. However, things like Prison Break, you can make quite a lengthy video. However, there are already plenty of people out there doing Prison Break videos. Ah, yes, for Kerbal, that's the other early access game I've got at the moment. So yes, I've been playing Folktale. Was a little disappointed actually to find out that at the minute all you can play through is the tutorial, and the only problem with that is it's quite a lengthy tutorial. However, saves are not available at the moment, which was kind of an issue for me the other day when I thought I'd just give it a go. Fairly late, played quite a bit of the tutorial, got quite late, wanted to go to bed, couldn't save it, so I thought, okay, I'll tab out, I'll leave it on. Came back in the morning, my computer had reset, tutorial obviously not finished, not saved, and also no other modes available, so I couldn't carry on. And to be honest, I just sort of lost heart at that point. I couldn't really bother to go through it all again, so I figured I would wait until the next update comes along that hopefully either adds saving to the tutorials or perhaps just adds a new game mode, sort of sandbox mode. But we'll see. But that's the nature of early access. They do make it quite clear in the descriptions what the features are there and what not. I just perhaps expected a little bit more, which is the worst thing to do, which is why early access is there, and that's the problem with a lot of people that play games on early access. They think they're getting a full game and they're not. So another game I've been playing this week, which I was really looking forward to, was Remember Me. Now, I absolutely love cyberpunk sci-fi settings, whether it be book, film or game, so I've been really looking forward to this. This one looked fantastic, and when I finally did get it, the game is gorgeous. I love the concept, I love the artwork. I'm actually looking, I actually have some of the artwork as a wallpaper at the minute on my computer, but to be honest, I'm a little disappointed. The game's graphics are quite nice. They look really nice on Ultra on my PC. The settings are fantastic. The world is great, and the little bits of intel that you get now and then to flesh out the world are fantastic. And the main character's voice is perfect. They found a great voice actress for her, and she does a really good job of it. However, that's pretty much where it stops. The rest of the voiceovers in the game are horrendous. They are beyond wooden. The guards, when they see you, the responses are just something along the line of, "Hey you, I'm going to put you in the hospital." And "Hey you, there's that terrorist that's on the loose." It's just really poor. It really just feels phoned in. It's like someone went onto Fiverr.com and just paid, asked someone, "Can you do a few voiceovers for these characters?" Which is a shame. It really does break the immersion and the depth of the game. It sort of destroys this amazing world that you're just getting sucked into, and then you hear a piece of really bad dialogue and it just wakes you up completely. The other absolutely horrendous part of the game is the actual gameplay itself. The combat system is just laughable. It's 2 combos, and you unlock new punches and kicks essentially within that you can reorder in those combos. These combos are always punch, 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 or kick, punch, kick. And you can reorder different kicks and different punches within the menu system so that you get different boosts and buffs when you attack. So you'll have a power kick and several power kicks and several power punches, several health regeneration kicks and punches, and several stamina regeneration kicks and punches. However, they're still just normal kicks and punches. You still only have these 2 combos. You also have sort of like an overcharge, overkill mode where you go into like a free kick mode where you can basically do any sort of kicks, punches combination you want, and it's just a spam basically. You just jump over the enemies, kick a few, jump to avoid a few, watch out for the telegraphing icons above the heads that tell you when they're going to hit you, much like in the way of Batman, but without any of the fun of the Batman combat. And I think that just sort of says it all about the game. The game just isn't fun, which is a real shame. I really wanted to like this game. I've been looking forward to this game for a while. I should have known when I saw it was Capcom, really, that it was going to be horrendous. Because Capcom are nothing if not disappointing on a regular basis. It was a shame. I've been looking forward to it for so long, and it's probably the biggest disappointment gaming-wise that I've had in quite a while. To the point of where I uninstalled it. I just couldn't be bothered to play it anymore. That was just it. It was just boring. I just could not be bothered to play it anymore, which is a real shame, because even the most basic games should entertain you in the slightest. Nothing. Not remotely entertaining. So it's a real shame. Another game I've been playing a lot this week has been Defiance, the MMO. And the part of the reason I've been playing, I've had it for a while but not played a lot of it, because I'm sort of terrible when it comes to MMOs. I always want to give them a go, and I always want to enjoy them, but I never just... I tend to get bored of them quite quickly, and I just can't be bothered to play them if I'm by myself. But luckily, Emuholic got hold of a copy this week, and so we've been playing that through together. And I've got to say, it's really fun. The combat system's quite amazing for an MMO. It does not feel like an MMO in the slightest. And some of the random events and the artfuls in the game are great fun. So me and Emuholic rather, have been playing through the main story missions and the odd episode mission, as well as doing a lot of the arcful events, and just basically running around and kicking some ass. Now, another reason we're playing this together is that we both watched the TV show as well, and we talked about doing another feature, another sort of semi-regular feature on the channel / website, which will be a combination video looking at both the latest couple of episodes of the series, the TV series, as well as what we have been up to in the game, including the sort of TV series tie-in missions, which you get in the game from time to time. So it will be looking at that, looking at new things that are coming in the game, as well as new things that are coming up in the series, and looking at what's happening in both, but also looking at what's happening in the series, which we think might translate to the game at some point in the near future, and vice versa. So looking at what we're doing in the game and thinking about, who we might be seeing in the actual TV series at some point in the near future, which would be quite intriguing. I don't think there's anybody else doing it at the minute, so that's why I'd like to give it a try. I don't know how popular that would be or how interested people would be in that, but I'm quite interested in it, so I'm going to give it a go anyway. Another game I've been playing a lot of over the past few weeks, although I did sort of finally step away the last few days, and that is Kerbal Space Program, and that has been my Everest. I really would like to do a quite in-depth little video on Kerbal as part of the early access thing. However, I just cannot dock on that game. It's even got to the point now where I've installed various mods in order to take over a lot of the processes. I still cannot dock. It has been vexing me, to say the least. It has been quite challenging. However, it's in a great testament to the game. I'd keep trying. I keep sending up parts of space stations up there and hoping that I can dock them. Now I've moved on to try and make things a little bit easier for myself. I've been making probes and trying to dock them with each other. With very, very little success. I essentially just... The reason I'm doing it is before I want to do a video, I'd like to put a decent sized space station with a refueling point up in in orbit in order to sort of get a little bit further out into the solar system, and order just because it looked bloody cool. But it looks like it looks like it's not going to happen at the moment, for a little while at least. However, I might give it a little try in an hour or so. I am actually getting, as I'm talking about it, I'm actually getting tempted to go out and try it again. I don't know if that's a testament to the game or it just shows how stupid I can be at times. Lastly, game-wise, another game I've been playing a little bit this week is actually something of a guilty secret, which is Viva Pinata. I've been looking for something to play in the evenings when I really don't want to play anything else, and I don't really want to play anything that requires too much brain work, and more importantly, that doesn't require the keyboard, so I can actually sort of lean back, chill out, and just use the mouse. And I really fancied something along the lines of sort of like an Animal Crossing or Harvest Moon type sort of game, a sort of simple game where you run around, something where you can like grow stuff, or something where you can, which is sort of like not far off leveling up, but without doing too much in the way of effort, and without having to kill things. Sometimes even the most hardcore gamer gets sick of killing polygons. So Viva Pinata is the one that I found that fitted the mould the best in the shortest amount of time, so I've been playing a little bit of that in the evenings. However, that can be, despite being supposed to being a relaxing game, it can be bloody infuriating at times in terms of waiting for cutscenes to end and such. As I said earlier, I'm not a patient person. I've got terrible attention span. But yeah, it's not a bad little game, and it's something I'm going to spend a little bit more time on in the evenings. Now, before I go, I just want to talk about what we're going to be doing over the next week. Hopefully there'll be another Greenlight Highlights episode at the end of next week, provided that enough new interesting games get added to Greenlight. They can't always come out every week because sometimes you may get a huge batch of games added to the Greenlight. However, they might all be bloody awful, or not worthy in my eyes, rather. I don't want to put necessarily the same old stuff up that's going to blend in. I want to put stuff up that stands out to me. Stuff that either does things differently, or perhaps does things very well. So, depending on how many good games get added to that, if I get the full 6, then there will be another Greenlight Highlights this week. There will be, at the very least, the first episode of the new Greenlight Spotlight show. I still haven't decided which, as I said earlier, which game we're going to do, but there will be a video for that up this week. I'm also going to try and get the first of the Defiance features out this week. However, I really do have to sit down and think about what's going to go on with that video, because a lot of thought has to go into something like that. And hopefully, I say, there will be maybe a review, or perhaps also an impressions video, maybe an impressions video of Kerbal, providing I could get the docking sorted out, or perhaps even maybe a short video on Connecting Void. But I will post all that on the website. If you are a subscriber and haven't been to the website yet, please do check out the website, because as well as the YouTube videos that we're putting up every week, there are also news posts and such, and press releases on the website as well. And sometimes it's just easier just to put up a little quick post rather than put out a sort of informational video. However, like I said, this new video log will be a weekly thing, so if I get any new bits of news or stuff, then that can be added to this. And hopefully there will start to be about 3 or 4 videos a week from the channel, hopefully. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching, and if you did enjoy it, please do like, comment and subscribe, and please also If you've got any ideas for any of the videos, future videos that I've been talking about, or any games you'd like us to cover that are on Greenlight and we've missed, then please do let us know. Also, if there are any games on Steam that you'd like us to cover in general, or maybe look at or do a few videos on, then please again do let us know. Thank you.